Hello, listeners. Welcome to our English program podcast, Kaleidoscope. Listeners, today we have the second part of our series, Master Architects of India. Listeners, today's program will focus on the famous architect Laurie Baker. He had a deep respect for spaces stored in Indian architectural methods because of his value for vernacular, organic, and sustainable architecture. He made use of traditional techniques and materials while also devising new ones. Through these, he would shade places from heat, permit sunlight and ventilation. He worked with brick jali walls, Mangalorean clay tiles, plated palm thatches, ponds, courtyards, and curved roofs to modernize Indian landscape with tradition. Listeners, in our today's program, we have architect Kirti Nandode and architect Mihir Vakharia from Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, Kivde. While Kirti Nandode is an experienced architect who has done her master's in landscape from Savitribai Phule, Pune University, whereas architect Mihir Vakharia is pursuing his PhD in architecture. He has a commercial approach towards creative design. So listeners, these two architects are having a discussion in a cafe over a cup of coffee on the works and influences of architect Laurie Baker. Let us listen to them.
Hello Kirti.
Hello Mihir. Where were you last week? We didn't meet and we couldn't catch up via call as well. Is everything okay at your end?
I am fine. Just got busy with the work. Let's catch up soon. Decide location to meet.
Let's meet at our favorite coffee spot, the Indian Coffee House in the evening.
Yes, sure.
Hi, finally we meet.
Such a pleasure to meet you Kirti after a long time. Waiter.
Order?
Kirti, let's order a cup of coffee. Would you like anything else?
Yes Mihir, I will have sandwiches and a coffee.
Okay, 2 coffee, 2 sandwich.
Thank you.
This place has a pleasant vibe in the moist temperature of Kerala. As this coffee house is built with exposed brickwork, it also has an advantage of its sound insulation and fire resistance.
I think it is designed by none other than the brick master of Kerala, a very famous architect Laurie Baker.
Absolutely right. Laurie Baker sir has done his graduation from Buckingham School of Architecture, Britain. Born into a strict Christian Methodist family, Laurie spent his early days devoted to the church and all its activities. But his interest in the traditional church teachings reduced during the teen years, and he was introduced to Quaker beliefs very similar to the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi.
And in 1945, he moved to India to build a hospital that could treat leprosy patients, finally ready to use his architecture to help the people in need. Despite being a RIVA qualified architect, he experienced growing feeling of incompetence, helplessness, and the lack of understanding during his first few months in India. He is not appeared to be familiar with the terms like termite, monsoon, and black cotton soil.
Very true. It was a difficult phase for any foreign architect.
Since the materials and the construction methods are so different, the textbook, reference book, and construction manuals that Baker brought were useless.
That's why he goes back to the drawing board somewhat grudgingly and creates appropriate structures. Discover new applications for burnt brick, stone, tiles, and wood while learning more about the available local resources.
That becomes the Baker's signature style.
Yes, Mihir. He also created new varieties of mortar and plaster, and to the greatest extent feasible, strove to design buildings in a way that would be acceptable to their intended users and blend in with the regional architectural styles.
You know, Kirti, Baker made India his home once he met Mahatma Gandhi through mutual friends.
Yes, Mihir. I have read about this somewhere. Gandhiji once mentioned that the ideal dwellings in the ideal village will be built using materials that are all found within a 5-mile radius of the residence, which impressed and inspired Baker sir's thoughts during that conversation.
Yes.
You know what? He was really inspired by the Gandhi's suggestion that he returned and served the Indian poor and became an Indian citizen in 1988. Also, skill and creativity with which he designed and built sturdy, context-aware architecture for the poor.
Kirti, his architecture is hallmark of simplicity and finds extreme delight in building homes for the common man. He is strong votary of the beliefs that house should reflect the personality of its owner and not believe that the house should reflect the personality or the statement made by an architect.
I think every architect should follow this approach to their project.
Yes, his buildings are an amalgamation of traditional techniques, locally available materials. He challenged the engineering techniques and followed the cost-effective, sustainable vernacular construction style.
Very well said, me. He also used the rat trap bond masonry technique. This involves creating cavities in the brickwork, thus reducing the brick count. Baker used exposed brickwork in his buildings. Those didn't require any painting, plastering, or interior finishes. As he always used locally available materials, transportation costs were also saved.
So true, Kirti. Think, his thirst to thrive in a traditional culture and technique with this Western background ignited the trends of neo-vernacular architecture in India. Just look at this cylindrical form that tapers at the end. Look at the interior and the emphasis on its ramp, jali work and inbuilt seating. The use of jalis or perforation really helps to encourage natural ventilation and lighting. With this, he creates a beautiful light and shadow effect.
Just not this, the Indian coffee house, but have you heard about the house in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, which has mango-shaped courtyard?
The one built for retired bureaucrat?
Yes.
I heard it was built at a half cost of conventional design.
Yes, Mihir. This dwelling was built in unplastered brick with a roof that spirals up around the courtyard. I was so mesmerized looking at the design. I also heard that the style was given a particular title.
The conventary cathedral effect. It was basically a feeling of walking deep into earthy dark setups.
Right, Mihir.
The dwelling also adorned broken glass bottle built-in wall that glows against the sun. It adds a pinch of richness to design, and this richness isn't usually expected by an architect who has devoted his life to building for the poor.
Baker was one of the architects who worked on the specificity of an inhabitant's personality and lifestyles. If he believed that a small window could give someone in the kitchen a beautiful view, he would add to it. I think, Mihir, this is what we as an architect must think. Even in my apartment, I have a mountain view, which we always miss because the window given is on the roadside. I wish there was a window there.
Yeah, even I can imagine. Have you had a chance to visit the recent project of his, the Center of Development Studies at Thiruvananthapuram?
Not yet, Mihir, but I have heard that the project abides by all the principles of Baker and makes it stand out.
Yes, the campus is spread across a 10-acre of land in northern outskirts of Thiruvananthapuram. The campus divides into numerous blocks that are placed in line with the topography of the area. The organic design and the brick exterior resembles the color of surrounding red landscape, an important component of design maintaining the existing landscape. As a result, the structure wraps and molds itself around the nearby trees. The campus and its surrounding fit so well that the building appears to be growing out of the ground.
That's amazing. I have also heard that the cost of the building is influenced by the site's location. For instance, building on the edge of a sloping site necessitates the construction of a retaining wall, which raises the cost of the project. According to Laurie Baker, not every building on a property needs to have a similar form. In order to increase its visual composition, the structure must naturally match its topographical requirements.
Not just low costing, Kirti, but also climate responsive. The research campus takes a local climate into account. It is well recognized that using natural materials enhance the interior environment. The red trap arrangement of brick creates a double wall that enhances the thermal comfort. One of the greatest options for the glass window that could passively ventilate a space is jali wall. The indoor climate of the space can be dramatically affected by positioning of the opening and perforation.
Yes, Mihir, this is really suited for warm and humid climate of Kerala.
The campus has numerous courtyards and the light wells encourage the cross ventilation. Due to pressure difference, the tilted window covering aid in directing wind to the space. Cross ventilation produced by the arch opening that serves as doors on the campus also helps keep building cooler.
It is so well planned and I am mesmerized with its details. I will surely visit it soon. And with this, our coffee is here.
You know, Kirti, I have also heard one of the major project of him, Fisherman's Village in Purunthra, Kerala, designed for tribal people whose main income source is fishing. While designing, he faced many challenges like cyclone, kinship, severity in living conditions for tribal community. But he found the best solution by using jali walls, exposed brickwork, sloping roofs, and openness in design.
Yes. I know this project as the Jali wall helps in cyclonic wind meets no resistance and is allowed to pass through the house through lattice work and resists heat gain too. Instead of long row houses, he staggered them so that the front courts catch breeze and also get the view of the sea. These houses are clustered around a common open space, which is used as a common community work, play, and recreation area.
Yes, you know quite well about Baker's philosophy. There are so many projects designed by him, but philosophy about low-cost construction by using filler slab? Baker has many advantages like by using filler material, weight of the slab reduces. It is economical and energy saving with eco-friendly compressive roofing.
So true. His designs invariably have Indian traditional sloping roofs, terracotta mangalore tiles, shingling with gable end, and vents allowing rising hot air to escape. Mihir, if you observe, he used curved walls to enclose more volume than rectangular or square walls. I remembered, he wrote, very rarely do we find the square or the rectangle, but very often the circle is used. The straight line is rare, but the graceful curve is frequently seen. An interesting scientific observation is that the length of the wall enclosing a given area is shorter if the shape is circular.
This is an important factor in cost reducing exercise. Baker has found the answer to many spatial and planning problems by using the circle and the curve instead of square and the straight lines. Building becomes much more fun with the circle. Throughout his working life, he found the whole business of planning and designing is intensely absorbing and fun-loving. Always living close to nature, he learned many lessons from the designs of God's creation.
Hats off to his philosophy. For more than 40 years, Baker used his ideas of simplicity, minimalism, and originality to create affordable, high quality, aesthetically distinctive, and energy efficient homes. His vision substituted traditional Indian sloping roofs with vents and gables. When jalis could promote a nice breeze and disperse the sun's rays in lovely patterns, elaborate windows with glass panels seemed superfluous. For his work on affordable architecture in 1990, the Indian government awarded him the Padma Shri for his outstanding contributions to the field of architecture. Do you know Mihir? He is also known as the Gandhi of Indian architecture and advocated for locally produced sustainable construction.
Kirti, had a great time with you, but so sorry, I have to go for another meeting. But it was a memorable meet with you at the unforgettable place, the coffee house by architect Laurie Baker.
Always welcome, Mihir. Bye. See you again.
So listeners, that was a discussion between two architects, Kirti Nandode and Mihir Vakharia, who are having a discussion in a cafe over a cup of coffee on the works and influences of architect Laurie Baker. Hope you had a good and an enriching time listening to them. We'll be back with another episode of Master Architects of India. Until then, thanks for listening and please stay tuned as our next program follows.